I think that if Jon Jones's career ended today, there would be a great 30 for 30 to be made on his life. I think he's going to fight for another 10 years. He told me he feels very unsatisfied. He has a lot more fighting left in him. And so if it ends when he's 40, there's going to be an amazing documentary told. I hope that it's not the story of Darryl Strawberry, that it's not the story of Doc Gooden. In essence, if you don't know those individuals, amazing superstars, players with immense talent, and the ceiling was higher than anyone else for them, right? And yet they just couldn't get out of their own way. Drugs, alcohol, transgressions, one after the next. I hope that's not the story that we tell about Jon Jones, because the guy is only 31 years young. However, after speaking to him on Monday, I feel like he was letting us know, hey, don't set the bar high, don't expect anything, because something might happen here. And that kind of bums me out, but I appreciate the honesty.
Did you watch the Chuck Liddell fight?
Just the end of it.
Not good, right?
How old is he now?
50.
Damn.
Yeah.
So there's hope for me. Oh wait, he lost. Shit.
Well, you've never been knocked out the way he's been knocked out so many times. Chuck's also, I think there was an issue with his style, because his style was so aggressive that people could just set, boom, and counter, like Rashad Evans did with him. And so you're getting his momentum coming forward and the shot, and he would get flatlined.
He doesn't change.
No.
He doesn't evolve.
He had a style that was incredibly effective back in the day.
Yeah.
And I think he became married to that approach. You know, the approach that worked so well on Babalu, so well on Tito in the early fights. He was just a marauder. You could hit him in the face with a crowbar and he would just spit metal out at you. He didn't give a He was so bad back in the day, and he relied on that so much.
I remember all the Mohawks.
That's that style. Comes a certain point in time where you just can't do that anymore, you know?
Curious, what do you think about, I guess, the success he's had and his fighting style in general? I'm sure you probably don't really study opponents until you're set to fight them, but what do you think about, I guess, you know, the way he's beaten his opponents in the past, especially because you and him share common opponents like Derek Brunson?
Yeah, it's an opponent.
Beg your pardon? Well, one opponent, yeah.
No, I fought Tavares as well. So.
That's a good point, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like we're not doing our job here, Cass. We can't pronounce
zero
words.
research.
No, he's very exciting. He is methodical. He's got textbook stand-up. He stays on the outside and just picks them apart from the outside. I think it's great. It's great to watch. It's great to see. He puts his opponents on show. It's great. He sets a rhythm that just throws his opponents completely out, and I think that's great. I think that's great for his fight style. I think it's great for the sport. I think it's great for the division to see this. I like watching it.
It's interesting because he says if he beats Anderson Silva, it's going to be the great New Zealand versus Australia sort of fight. But you've got a Kiwi background as well, right? You're part Kiwi, part Australian. So I'm not quite sure if that would be like a Wallabies versus All Blacks kind of situation, would it?
Was he talking if he beats Anderson Silva and he has to fight me?
Yeah, correct. A big sort of, but I'm like, well, Rob is part Kiwi, right?
Well, I was born there, so.
Yeah, so.
The same. Okay. I can't even think about it. You know, I think it's the fate of all good fighters to fight each other eventually, and that's just what we have to do.
How about this, the wisdom coming from Robert Whittaker? Did you just think of that?
No, it's just...
That's like out of a quote book.
It's inevitable. It's just what happens. But my only sights and only goal at this point is to fight Kelvin Gastelum. He is too dangerous of an opponent to ignore, and if I don't give him the respect he deserves, he'll run over me.
And Dana, obviously a lot of people wondering what's going to be next for Conor McGregor. There's been talk about the Khabib rematch. There's a rumor about the Cowboy Cerrone match. Is it a matter of waiting for that hearing in Vegas, or are you guys already talking about a possible fight?
The Cowboy Cerrone fight has never, ever been discussed. That's completely not true. And, you know, I said the fight that makes sense right now is probably, you know, Poirier, and then Tony gets a shot at the title, and the two winners fight each other. But I'm not sure exactly on a date when Conor's going to fight yet. We have to get through this Nevada State Athletic Commission stuff first.
I talked to Oscar like one time, bro, this week. You know, so it's like I'm not like, I know there's a lot of people listening, but it's like I'm not sitting here talking anything, but it's like, come on, man, you didn't talk to me one time, like just one time. I talked to him at the presser on Tuesday. That's it, bro. He didn't come say what's up before the fight, after the fight, nothing, bro. So it's just kind of like whatever, like all right, you know.
That presser was embarrassing, man. He didn't know what he was saying up there.
Yeah, no, for sure, bro. I mean, dude, and I'll tell you, when he came up to me right before the presser started, it's the only time we spoke at all, and I shook hands, and he looked over at my name tag to make sure who I was.
Oh, man.
You know, background, he didn't know who I was, you know what I mean? So it was like, I don't know how, you know, other people deal with these situations, and, you know, I wasn't butthurt or whatever.
You were talking about how this Anderson Silva fight came together, and I remember when we were talking to you last, you mentioned you had a dream and how that kind of changed things a little bit, and then Huge came to you in the gym. You were talking about it in a previous interview, and how he sort of mentioned, hey, this isn't really what you were going to plan to do, but what do you think about this? Take us into the process of sort of accepting this Anderson Silva fight, because I know initially you weren't that keen on it.
On record, I've been known to say I didn't want to fight. There's no need. You know, this is a guy that's my hero. I looked up to him, blah, blah, blah. But then I had this dream on a Sunday night. You know, on Monday I got to the gym, trained. It's about 2 weeks ago. And after training, he's like, Israel, calls me to the back room. I'm like, what do I do now? And I knew you had this look at his eyes. I was like, oh shit. I was like, look, I can't remember how he worded it, but he just said pretty much he doesn't really believe in all these like premonitions and whatnot, because I see things. I've planned all this shit. So it's like he doesn't really. We're different. We're from the same. We're cut from different cloth, but we're kind of like similar, like yin and yang. But he just doesn't really see things the way I see it. But he felt like this fight right now, it's destiny. This is how it's supposed to happen. And I was like, yeah, I agree. And he's like, yeah. I was like, yeah. I had a dream last night, and da-da-da-da-da. I explained to him, and yeah, this part of the movie is gonna be sick. So. And someone else gave me an idea. This is going to be 2 parts or 3 parts to a movie, because
be like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, this is going to be the end of the first movie where I take care of him, and then like the beginning of the next movie would be the face-off between me and the winner of the main event. So yeah, I've already planned all this and how it's going to turn out. So yeah, it just made sense to me, and it's too much to explain, but yeah, it just made sense. Like this is how it's supposed to happen. And people were in my shoes. Oh. Look, he's not Chuck Liddell. Don't get me wrong. People, because of that, so recently people were like, oh, how dare you? He's 43. Look, he has. Last time I was finished was when he broke his leg. He hasn't been losing badly. He beat Derek Brunson. You know, it was a close fight, I guess. But yeah, and I think he's just been bored. You know, I already knew like when he came back, because initially he said no, and then Jacare, he got offered the fight as well, but. He had a hard fight with Chris Weidman. He needs more time to prepare. And January 19th is not long away, so he needs more time to just heal his body, rest his mind, because he took some lickings in that fight. So those who are like, but Jacare deserves this title shot. He got offered no, because he actually needs to rest. And then Anderson came back and said yes, and I was like, because initially I was disappointed. I was like, man, this is a guy who liked the big challenges, the great show, like he used to say. I want a great show, you know? And then he said no to me. I'm like, man, maybe he doesn't have it anymore. And then he came back last Sunday. I was like, yep, I want to do it. And I'm like, they must have made him an offer he can't refuse. And instantly I knew it was like title shot. I was like, all right then.